Joe Rogan was asked about Sha'Carri Richardson and how she was basically left out of the Olympics simply because she smoked weed. His comments here are really interesting, not just about Sha'Carri Richardson, but also about the Olympics in general. So I want to show you some of this, and then we'll respond.
How'd you feel about the Olympics banning Sha'Carri Richardson for
100% horseshit. First of all, I think the Olympics are disgusting because that lady should be getting paid millions of dollars. All of them should be getting paid millions of dollars. All the winners of the gold medals, all those people that are generating insane amounts of wealth for the Olympics, they should get a giant piece of that. They're responsible for the reason why people are watching the Olympics. Right. No one is watching the Olympics because it's the Olympics. They're watching the Olympics because you see the best athletes on the world. Right? Yeah. You see the best athletes who have gone through all these competitions and reached this insane pinnacle of their skill development, right? And they're getting nothing. They're getting zero, and the whole world's watching. And they're selling crazy advertisement, and that money's being generated, and the networks are making it, and the IOC is making it, and all these other people are making it. And the athletes, the whole reason people are tuning in, they get nothing. It's insane. It's a disgusting, corrupt system.
It's gross. And then a lot of times the cities that they move into, like once they're gone, they fall the fuck apart.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, it's a lot of times, these countries, they build up this whole thing for the Olympics, and they're incentivized, and there's a lot of money that flows into the city, and then once they pull out of that, I mean, the people that live in that country are like, hey, well, why didn't you spend that shit on infrastructure? Why didn't you spend that shit to fix the bridges and the streets and to fucking fix these communities? But there's no money in that.
They don't give a fuck about you.
These dirty fucks. But I think it's infuriating that this lady, who is apparently like she's a shoo-in for the gold medal in the 100 meters. She's supposed to be spectacular. And they're not going to let her run that. But they're going to let her run the relay. Like, fuck you.
Oh, they're going to let her run?
Yeah, they're going to let her run. Yeah, because if she doesn't run the relay, America probably doesn't win. I mean, I don't know. I don't know jack shit about track and field.
I think she's kept off.
What?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Exclusion from the relay team. Yeah, I saw that last night.
Oh, this is new?
Mm-hmm. She's not on the team.
But for weed, though.
For weed. It's so dumb. It's so dumb.
For weed.
It's so dumb. Look, if they caught her doing steroids or EPO, okay. I get it. Okay. But man, there was a lot of people accusing her of steroids. There was like a lot of people accusing her of a conspiracy. So the reason why she smoked weed was so that she could get caught for weed and not get caught for steroids. Like, I was reading this. I'm like, people can't just look at things for what they are. Everyone has to like look at things like with this conspiracy theory lens.
Yeah, I mean, but that's just idiots.
Yeah, I mean, to that last point, absolutely. As Freud said, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. Sometimes there is no reading between the lines. It's just all out there at face value. But anyway, so, I mean, he nailed it. And it's actually really rare that people talk about the true nature of the Olympics. And, I mean, it really is wildly exploitative, shockingly so. I mean, they don't pay these athletes, but they generate so much money. It's a really, really strange thing. In fact, in many ways, it's a lot like NCAA sports. I mean, I think now, if I'm not mistaken, there was a court case somewhere in the country, maybe California, where some of the rules are just beginning to change about the NCAA, but I'm sure we still have a long way to go. It generates so much money, and the people who are actually doing the work and doing the stuff have dick to show for it. They don't get anything for it. And so, I mean, I think Joe is right. Pay the Olympic athletes is one thing that absolutely should be done. That shouldn't even be controversial. Don't give me this bullshit about tradition. You're doing it for your country. Yeah, okay, do it for your country and pay them, dick. No matter what they pay them, it's still probably going to be under the market value of what they'd be owed. So give them something, right? But beyond that, Joe's point about, like, this is a waste of money anyway. Spend it on infrastructure, son. That's right. So get this. The cost of doing the Olympics, it's anywhere from $5 billion to $50 billion, depending on, the place and the time. For just a little more than that. So for $60 billion, you could have free college for everybody in America. You could implement a free college program. But instead, I think we have the Olympics coming here to LA relatively soon. That money's going to go towards something that will end up being dilapidated and abandoned. And if you don't believe me, that's what's happened virtually every time. So I remember being obsessed with this a few years back when I learned what was going on. But yeah, there's the before and after pictures like, hey, this is what the Olympic Village in this place used to look like, and now here's what it looks like now. I mean, it all gets totally abandoned. It's all a ghost town. So basically, all these countries throughout the world took anywhere from $5 billion to $50 billion and just lit it on fire, flushed it down the toilet. You get like, a little bit of time to play sports and have it on TV, and then like after that, everything goes to shit. Just a total waste of $5 billion to $50 billion. So, to Joe's point, if we have these resources and nobody talks about how you're going to pay for it in the case of the Olympics, why wouldn't we just, do the free college program or update the infrastructure or put this money towards better use? It blows my mind. It blows my mind, and I'm happy that he said this. And then to his point about Sha'Carri Richardson, yeah, I mean, it's obvious. Weed is not even a performance-enhancing drug. So that rule shouldn't be a rule. Like, the whole idea of rules is like, let's craft a system that makes it a fair race. And so the rules should reflect that. But this is an instance of the rules not reflecting that at all. If anything, she might be disadvantaging herself by smoking weed. So should everybody else be suspended as a result of that? Hey, she unfairly reduced her abilities, so, you guys got to reduce your ability or you're suspended. That would make no sense, right? I mean, I'm sorry, but we got to get to the point where we catch up to reason and where we are now historically. So many states in the U.S. have legalized recreational marijuana. The federal government needs to catch on and legalize it at the federal level, or at the very least decriminalize it. And, the rules for sports should catch up as well. By the way, for a lot of different sports, I don't know what it's like for sprinting and track and field and stuff, but for a lot of sports, it's so tough on the body. Whether it's football or, basketball or what have you, hockey, these guys perform all the time. And their schedules are so packed. And a lot of times you get hurt. And you have, physical pains that are recurring. You might drain you mentally. These substances actually might. I guess this is slightly contradicting my point from earlier about how it's not performance enhancing. But it helps you, rejuvenate yourself, refresh yourself, hit reset. It's like if you're hurting and you take Tylenol, I guess that's technically a performance enhancing drug too, if it helps you, right? So weed does that both physically, but also maybe mentally it might help you. So it makes no sense that, we have all these contradictions too in the rules. You're allowed to take caffeine, but you're not allowed to take, some pre-workout supplement that you might be able to get at Vitamin Shop. Maybe you are allowed to take that, but then you're not allowed to take Adderall or something else. I mean, either we should go full puritanical and ban all substances, no matter how minor the impact is, or you go in the other direction and just sort of do a free-for-all. Or I guess you could split the difference and do a middle ground and say only the most egregious substances are banned. But even under that system, she should still be in for weed. So, and by the way, if you actually read the articles on this, apparently Sha'Carri Richardson's mom recently died. And so when she smoked weed, she was just like, I just want to get this off my mind. I mean, talk about, now I feel really bad. Now it's like, and by the way, even if that wasn't the case, still sort of fuck them for having this rule and then banning her as a result of it. You don't even need to have the horror story and the sob story of my mom died and I want to get my mind off it. But yeah, sprinkling that on top is oh my God. And this is what you're going to do? I wonder how long she's been training for the Olympics for. I wonder how long she's been doing it. And, now she's going to have nothing to show for it, all because of a stupid rule that should have been changed. So he's right on the Sha'Carri thing. He's definitely right on the Olympics thing. And very few people even know about the facts of the Olympics. That it costs so much money, and then the places get abandoned. All that money could go to something else. They don't even pay the athletes. It's such a scam, and it's such exploitation. And I guess now people are starting to have these conversations, but for a long time they didn't, and that was a shame.